you playing a video game. Why don't you learn how to build that video game, how to create that video game? That could put you ahead of the game. So now we're looking at Call of Duty, and you created a game called Duty of the Calling or something like that. And
now you're innovative.
You're innovative.
Just like that. You're
going to make a lot of money because you are the person that's tested it. You know exactly what people like yourself like these days. Boom. But you can't get it just playing the game because you're just a user at that particular point. You're not a creator.
Right.
So take the time, go learn some stuff, and get off your tail.
And let me tell you that time is going to go by so fast. Like, look at us millennials. Like, we are now the aunties, the uncles, the big cousins.
Yeah.
You know, that time flew by like this. It feels like we've only been out of school for like a quarter of the time that we've actually been out. You know, we're having a hard time accepting the truth. You know, and so we don't want you to look up and, you know, 10 years have gone by and you still have no plan.
I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
But didn't. Come on now. Listen to your big cousins who are actually your aunties and uncles, but don't want to admit it.
We are the Millennial family. What's millennial?
What's up, family? How you doing? And welcome to episode 7 of the Millennial Family. We're your host. I am G-Sharp, and this is my wife,
SheSharp.
And of course, our goal is to shine light on a generation with a bad rap.
Yes, thank you all so much for getting us to our first 50 subscribers.
Ooh, thank you.
If you are new here and decide to subscribe, we encourage you to comment below, new to the fam, and we'll commit to giving you a warm welcome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, so in today's episode, we are bridging the gap between millennials and the Z generation. And so our purpose with this episode is to pass on some valuable advice to the generation that's shaping the future. And so look to us as your big cousins. We're not here to tell you what to do. Nope. Instead, we want to offer our perspective, share lessons learned, and create a space for open discussions.
Yeah. And we have a lot of family members and coworkers, church members, a lot of mentees that we meet of all age groups. And so we really want them to be successful in life. You know, we love them, you know, so.
Yes. And so let's get started with some Generation Z statistics.
Cool. Well, if you are a part of Gen Z, then you are born in between 1997 and 2012. So that puts you around the age group of 12 to 27. Awesome.
And so Generation Z is the first generation born when internet access was already up and running. Yeah. And so most Generation Zers have social media and cell phones. Okay. And so with that being said, how old were you when you had your first cell phone?
I would say I know I had to be in like maybe my senior year when I first got a car, or early college is one of those.
Senior year of high school?
Yep.
Okay. And I think I was about a sophomore in high school. And so, yeah.
Cool. And another thing is Gen Z, they lived through the global pandemic at a young age. So many of them were unable to go to school and really kind of communicate with their friends and everything like that. So these were crucial years for them to be able to have a socialized life. And, you know, I know from experience because, you know, being a teacher, we had to deal with a lot of students, you know, that dealt with some psychological stuff or feeling like they were alone and feeling like they were just caved in and locked in their room, you know, all day and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was
crazy
rough
for them. Yeah.
It was rough for, you know, us as adults, but I could only imagine how that impacted Gen Zers.
Yeah, just imagine you going from being at school with your friends all day to being by yourself all day, not being able to communicate really.
Right. And like, as we shared on our last episode about friendships, you know, most of our, you know, best moments in childhood were in those high school years, you know? And so it sucks that they missed out. A lot of them missed out on prom. They missed out on senior trips.
Graduation, like a real graduation. Yeah.
So it was
crazy.
So yeah, our hearts go out to y'all.
Yeah.
And so I want to share some Gen Z slang words to get us familiar and to make you all feel welcome. And so the first one is say less. So this is an abrupt, often funny way of saying I understand or I've got the point. And so it also may come off as a little rude because it's essentially a request to stop talking.
Wow.
Say less. The next one is bet.
Bet.
This is a term of affirmation or agreement. And so, for example, I could say something like, hey, let's go out to eat. And you'd say,
bet.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, I would say for sure.
Okay, because you're a millennial.
But
for sure.
It's the same.
And so the next one we have is bussing.
Bussing.
I had no idea what this one meant.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Zers actually changed this term from everything being great, like your music is bussing or your outfit is bussing, to referring to typically delicious food. And so if you're at a restaurant and you're enjoying your steak, you'd say,
this food is bussing.
You can tell he has students in this age group because he just caught on so quickly. And so the last one we have for you, which there are many more, is a popular one. No cap.
No cap.
And so this one was mostly influenced by hip hop culture, but it's really popular with Gen Zers. And so it's another way of saying no lie or for real.
Yeah.
And so
I hear it all the time.
Right. Our podcast is legit truth.
No cap.
You got it.
That's it. All right. Next, we're going to get into some Generation Z negative stereotypes. So what are some of the negative stereotypes of Gen Z?
Along the way, we've heard that Gen Zers don't want to work. That they're often referred to as the microwave generation, wanting everything now.
Yeah.
And through studies, we've learned that this generation is more prone to becoming addicted to technology, such as video games and social media platforms like TikTok.
Yeah.
G-Sharp, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, being a teacher, I can say a good bit of this is true from my experience, And that's not to say all of them are like that, but dealing with, first, not wanting to do work. I mean, I think that can be just a young kid thing, A lot of, kids don't want to do work, homework, stuff like that, but that could be a normal thing. Now, with being addicted to video games and stuff like that, we see it all the time. And that can really have psychological effects to kids, when it comes to the study time that they have, when it comes to them not going outside like we used to go outside and play all the time. They just want to be in front of the game playing 24/7. And that can become a drug of sort, you could become an addict of video games, Now, on the flip side of that, I happen to be a co-moderator of esports where I work at. I'm a gamer myself, in moderation, especially since I have a family. But esports, it can be a great thing for kids, like you're learning team building skills. You're learning how to socialize with people, how to communicate with people. Like, so in that aspect, it can also help you to grow in certain areas because we have kids that have never had a chance to talk with girls. And now, sometimes we team up with like another school that has girls and they're conversing now what they wouldn't normally do.
Right, because you teach at an all-boys school.
Yeah, I teach at an all-boys school, And so, like, it's pretty cool to see them blossom and for them to have something in common to where they can actually step out of their comfort zone. So I love it, with that aspect of it. And so we helping kids to grow out of, that little timidness.
Yeah.
And helping them to find something they're successful at, helping them to grow in life with life skills. So I love it.
I love that. That's so good. Like, there's a positive and negative side to everything.
Everything.
You know, and so oftentimes when we hear about technology, we're hearing the negative side. But I'm glad you shared that story to highlight, even to the older generation listening, that there are some pros.
Oh, trust me.
To technology.
I've gotten slack for being a co-moderator of, esports. A lot of people are like, why are they playing video games? Why are you doing this? Why don't you come and see?
Yeah.
And see exactly the experience that they have with it, And that's the thing, man. You can't, like they say, judge a book by its cover. You have to get in that thing and read and learn about it even more, if you want to, be able to connect with somebody. And I connect with a lot of kids because they're asking me questions. Hey, Mr. Porch, have you played this game? Yes, I have. What do you want to know about it?
Right.
And we have a discussion about it. Okay, well, let's bring this to real life. What does this mean in real life? Oh, well, you know what? I have to have a strategy. I have to think. I have to do all these things that's going to help me to become a better human being, and I get to have fun doing it.
Right.
So,
that's so good. Yeah. And who knows what, having that connection could open up a conversation for another connection that's
for anything.
Yeah. Beneficial to their future. So that's awesome.
And to add this, there's scholarships for esports now. So like there's competitions and there's all kinds of things. So this could be a ride for your kid to get to college playing video games, something they really love. So
if you ground them, say, go get on that video game. Work toward that scholarship.
Yeah, our oldest would love that.
Oh my goodness. She'd probably get in trouble on purpose.
Right. But cool, man.
Yeah. And so as millennials, we've experienced some of the same criticisms, that Z generation has gotten. I mean, when I look at the Z generation, my heart really goes out to them because they do have a bad rep, and I feel like, we've kind of paved the way for that bad rep, but they took it to another level, and so I am a believer that, millennials are misunderstood. And so I want to extend some of that grace, to the Z generation and say, many of you are misunderstood. I believe that, there may be some truth, but I don't believe it's the majority now.
Definitely not.
And so we want to share some of the struggles that the Z generation may deal with, as well as solutions that come from our own experiences as millennials.
So the first key that we're going to talk about is the tech balance. All right. So tech balance, you have to understand that technology is a powerful tool and it can basically be used for good and evil. So you want to make sure that you find a healthy balance with it.
Yes.
Because it can be detrimental to yourself or someone else.
And that just reminds me of someone that I know who's always tired. And one day I asked them, why are you so tired all the time? And they said, because I've been up playing video games till like 3, 4 a.m. every night with my friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so unwise. But when I put myself in their shoes when I was about 22, 23 years old.
Doing the same thing.
Just up all night for no reason, And so did you experience that as well?
Of course. I was up playing Call of Duty all night. All night with my friends, got the headphones on and everything. We talking noise to each other and playing online.
And would you say that, that's just kids being kids or how, like, did that benefit your future in any way, or would you go back and change it?
I think it was a great experience. I will say yes and no. And no, because of course, again, I'm with esports, so these are certain games that we still play, in esports. So it prepared me for that, to know that side of it. And yes, I could have took more time to, work on my studies. Could have made better grades. Did better as a freshman or sophomore. Did better things. But I mean, I still turned out good. So I ain't no dummy.
So, like, what encouragement would you give someone, a Gen Zer who is up till 4 a.m. just tired all the time because they're playing games, but they're also a student? or even have like a part-time career?
I would say this, if you are one of those kids that's, staying up like that, I would use wisdom in whatever I do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like we said earlier, find a balance.
Yeah.
If you're going to play, set a time limit for you and your friends to play online. And then once you hit that time limit, you have to be disciplined enough to say, you know what, I'm going to go to bed, or I'm going to start on my paper, or whatever it may be, or use it as a treat. After you finish your paper,
that's good.
Have at it.
That's so good.
So there's different things that you can do. And I tell my students that all the time, you need to find a balance, and you need to make sure that you use it as a tool rather than something that's going to drag you down.
Yeah.
Because that's what you don't want.
That's so good. Like, use it as motivation.
Yeah. I mean, having fun with your friends is cool, but at the same time, you don't want to be the friend that's in last place getting left behind because you got an F in class, or, you missed out on a paper or something like that because you were playing with them. They might have their stuff already done. You don't know.
I'm telling you, I've experienced that very thing when I was in high school. I'm joking and laughing, and just clowning with my friends. And when it came time to graduate, it was the day before, and they were giving out these honors cords. And those very friends were walking up, grabbing their honors cords. And I'm sitting there like, when did you have time to like study and apply yourself, And I learned a very valuable lesson there is, like you said, to have a balance,
It's key.
And so Titus 2:12 says, and we are instructed to turn from godless living and sinful pleasures. We should live in this evil world with wisdom, righteousness, and devotion to God.
Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
And we just want to share, while technology is awesome, you have to be mindful of the impact that it has on your mind, your mental, and your well-being, because, we do have students that are super duper addicted to stuff like this. And when they don't get it, they throw tantrums, or they don't feel like doing anything.
Right.
They feel like the world is about to end, all kinds of stuff, so you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that situation. Make sure that you set limits for screen time, whether it be on your phone, whether it be your video games, whether it be your computer,
social media,
whatever you're doing. Make sure that you set time limits for yourself. Avoid using screens while you're in bed, because that can be addictive. You know what I'm saying? And when you get married, it can pour over into that too. So, you want to watch that and practice for that right now.
Right.
While you have a chance, because again, you can be addicted to it. Make time for activities that don't involve screens. Simply go outside, throw a football, throw a basketball, walk around, practice, talk to your friends face to face.
Right.
Go to the movies, do other stuff that's outside of, I'm just sitting here playing video games, or on Snapchat or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be.
Yeah, there's so much more to life, we promise you.
Learn how to cook meals, do other stuff that you're going to really need in life, So these are key things, if you're in college, I'm pretty sure just like how we were, you might be eating them ramen noodles or whatever, So, that and some little wieners, some hot dogs or whatever, but learn how to cook a meal so you can have a good meal.
Yes.
So.
Right. Yeah. And, even just learning how to cook will put you
ahead of the game.
Yes. It puts you ahead of the curve. It makes you stand out. Just imagine you're 19, you know how to make a whole gourmet meal.
Right. That puts you on a different level.
Yes. It's just like you being the only one in high school with a car,
Yeah.
And so, we want to reiterate, we are not telling you what to do. We're just sharing our best advice for high school age and young adults.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is 1 Corinthians 10:23, and this is from the Amplified. All things are lawful.
I was like, amp.
That is morally legitimate, permissible, but not all things are beneficial or advantageous. All things are lawful, but not all things are constructive to character and edified to spiritual life. So you want to make sure that these things may be, cool for you to do in the moment, but they're not cool to do forever.
Right.
So.
That's so good. The next area we want to speak to you all about is prioritizing your mental health. Yep. Mental health is a big deal. Asking for help or saying no to avoid burnout is okay. You want to be as aware as you can with your mental state. Yeah. This looks like being mindful of your time, in particularly the things you are giving your time to. The things that may be causing you burnout or discouragement. The things that may be causing you even depression. And so also, too, we want to encourage you not to be, consumed with technology or social media. TikTok, for instance, social media crashes regularly, and what if it goes out for good? We want to encourage you to have other outlets for fun and not just TikTok, because, we want to encourage you to avoid going crazy without it. Yeah. And so a good rule of thumb is too much of anything isn't good for you. And so, if your thought process of decompressing is going to social media or picking up your phone, that's too much of a good thing. And it's not good for you. Yeah. And so Colossians 3:2 says, set your mind on things above, not on things on earth. That says a lot. Yeah. And when Colossians is saying, set your mind on things above, is talking about heavenly things, kingdom things. Kingdom things. And so that's also a great outlet. It's giving you the fulfillment that you may be looking for. Yeah, That's real. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is money moves. All right, so you got to understand about cash flow early. You need to learn as much as you can about budgeting, how to save, how to invest your money. And the biggest thing is how to handle debt like a boss. Yes. So good. So you can buy food that's bussing. No cap. No cap. But yeah, being money smart, it really sets you up for you to be independent in life, especially in your adult life. And that's one of the things that's going to be key to your success in the long run. You want to be independent, be financially stable, and be able to do, and move around like you need to. Another thing is do your best to get scholarships while you're in high school. Yes. That is key. So good. And of course, I learned a lot of this because, again, I'm a teacher, and a lot of times at school we do ACT prep. And so with ACT prep, when you take the ACT, that's basically helping you get free money for school if you do well on it, So that is a great thing to think about, One thing that, and I'm just talking about us, I didn't get as many scholarships as I wanted to. I had some, but I still had to pay for school. And when I finished school, I was in debt with student loans. Yes, indeed. And you're going to hear a lot of people talk about student loans, So yes. And, for me, I didn't get scholarships out of high school because I thought, oh man, that's just going to be so much work. But I found out later, all it is really you writing a letter a lot of times. And I remember even being in college, there would be students that would get certain scholarships because they were the only 3 in the entire department that wrote a letter. Yeah. And so all it takes is a little effort. Yeah. And so like G-Sharp said, you had something else? Yeah, I was going to say, just make sure that, whenever you get these scholarships, be smart with them. I tell my young kids, hey, after you get scholarships, take that money because it's extra money for you. Take that money and invest it. So by the time you finish college, you might be able to make something like 50 to 150 grand coming out of college. So instead of going into debt, right, you got
a whole bunch of money just left for you to be able to get your house or get a new car or whatever else you need to get. So you financially stable starting off. So
right. That's such a great point. And I'm glad you got a chance to add that in. And so like G-Sharp said, he had, you had some debt coming out of college, and so did I. And so something that no one told me, this may be obvious to some of you, but it wasn't obvious to me, but financial aid. Financial aid is monetary assistance for college students to help them cover the cost of education, living expenses, and other specific needs. Yeah. However, it is debt. And I did not realize that. I was just thinking, I'm going to apply for financial aid and I'm about to get into these classes and then, I'll graduate and, soon. But I had no idea that once I graduate,
now, that's student loans. That's the debt side of it, because you can get grants and stuff, and
and scholarships from
money for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the financial side, when you take out a loan, is the debt that you don't want.
Right. And so as soon as I graduated, that debt was waiting. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my goodness, reality hit. And so millennials have the most college debt. Yeah. And the average outstanding balance is around $43,000. Can you do something with $43,000 like after you graduate?
Of course. Be flipping that mug like it ain't nothing. Yeah.
But picture graduating, getting a job, and having to put, about $600-$800 aside a month going toward it.
Or think about the times now you graduate with $43,000 in debt and you can't find a job right now.
Ooh.
How about that?
And the bills are due.
How about that?
Right. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Man.
So we're going to tell you, for us, our plan for our kids, we live in a great school system now for our kids. Yeah. Glory to God. And, it's nothing but God that allowed us to be here. But they have to where you can have dual enrollment, in their school. And basically what that is they take college courses with their courses that they take in high school. And so by the time they finish here in this parish, they might have an associate's degree, which puts them 2 years ahead of the game.
That's awesome.
And, if you have scholarship money, TOPS or, whatever else scholarship money, that's free money for them.
Right.
And, we're going to, talk to them about going to school in state first. We think that's the wisest thing to do for them, being young, but also so they won't go into debt. If you try to go to school out of state, you got out of state fees that you got to pay for and all kinds of extra stuff.
Yes, indeed.
That can cause you to go into debt. Just not even paying for school. That's paying for room and board and all this kind of other stuff. Right. That's just extra.
Yes, indeed.
So, we're going to encourage them to, first for your undergrad, stay home. Yeah. Get your degree here. And then, if you want to get your master's somewhere else, now you financially set up and, we got you.
Yeah. And also too, staying home, it offers typically more accountability, because when you're in college, you're just exposed to so much more, like at a faster pace. Yeah. And so again, typically when you're closer to home, it keeps you from, I guess, burning out too fast in college.
Yeah. And it keeps a lot of kids safe.
Yeah.
You have a place to run to. Let's just say, one of my daughter's car breaks down.
God forbid.
I can go and take care of that for them, because I can reach them. Now if you 8 hours away, I'm going to have to walk you through doing it.
Right.
When I can just be there for you. Yes. So there are benefits as a parent. Great point. As a kid, there are benefits too. You always have a hot cooked meal. You ain't got to worry about eating no ramen noodles.
Right.
Hot dog, cold hot dogs or whatever. You come get you some good chicken, some collard greens, all kinds of good stuff that, daddy and mama cook for you, so, well, at least we do that for our kids. So,
smothered
we
potatoes.
good over here. Yeah. But I want to read a scripture too, especially a lot of the guys, this is what we should be preparing our family for and doing for our family and for next generations. And that comes from Proverbs 13:22. And it says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Yes. So we want to make sure that we prepare or be prepared, financially to take care of our kids and leave stuff for their kids and their kids' kids and kids' generational wealth,
right. For sure.
That's what we want to do.
Yes. And so with that, we encourage you to take a break from TikTok and log into YouTube University to learn about financial literacy.
Yes. YouTube is a great tool to use when you don't know nothing.
Right.
All right. So when you're trying to learn something, I did it as a musician, later on, because, during my day, in the early days, we didn't have YouTube to go to. You actually had to go to either a concert or go see the person that you wanted to mentor you or whatever. But now you have it at your fingertips. You can learn anything that you want to learn, for free.
Right.
I'm not saying don't go to college, but however, you can learn a lot of stuff off of there to start your own business and get the experience that you need before you even go get any education from, an institution. So,
yeah. And if you do use YouTube University and you do gain something from their content, make sure you like and subscribe. Hello.
Yes. Support others also.
It don't take nothing but a little bit of effort.
That's right.
And so the next area we want to talk about is we want to let the Z generation know that after high school, you have options.
Yes, you do.
It's not just college. You have other educational options. And so as millennials, that was instilled in us.
Yeah.
Graduate high school, go to college. Whether it's a 2-year college or 4-year college or, plus. Go to college. Yeah. And that was just ingrained in us. And that's exactly what many of us did.
Yep.
However, studies show that millennials who've gone to college and have graduated actually do not use their degrees most of the time. It's actually 53% of millennials with college degrees are not using them. And so we want to, we're not saying don't go, and we're not trying to shy away from it. I mean, we're both
college graduates.
We're college graduates. Yeah. We both have our master's degrees as well. However, you can also look into other options like getting a trade, going to trade school, getting a certificate, or even going to the military.
Yeah.
And serving our country.
Yeah, all those are great things because, just to be real, college is not for everybody.
Right.
It's definitely not. You have to be and really want to go there. Now, some people learn later on that college ain't for them. And then some people learn that they thought college wasn't for them. And it was a place where they got more disciplined and needed to get to a place where they can learn even more information or being connected to the right person to help them. So, I mean, it's good. I'm not going to say it's bad. The financial part is bad.
But it's just not the only way to be successful.
Definitely not.
There are multiple routes to the path of success.
Yes, multiple.
And so, for instance, with a trade, you can get certified and become an electrician, a plumber, a construction manager, dental hygienist, cosmetologist, and so on. The list goes on. Yeah,
and you can make bank doing that yourself. And that's the thing.
Indeed.
You don't have to work for another company. You can be doing this yourself and start your own company. You know?
Yeah.
And if you connected with the right people, like where I teach at, you have like certain parents that own construction companies and all this type of stuff. You'll have a job for life.
Yeah.
If you're good at what you do.
Right. So, and I mean, you'll be highly respected as well because you're the only one who could do what you do.
Yep. And we need that now.
Yes, indeed.
So, and next thing we want to talk about is very important, just kind of what we talked about, education. Keep learning.
Yes.
Like never stop learning. And we still do this to this day. We go and do research on certain things to help us to stay ahead of the game or ahead of the curve.
Right.
Whatever it may be. With me, it's technology, since I'm into music. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to teach my kids next year, so I'm going to learn what's the future of music, what's the future of digital media to be able to teach them. So, and that's AI is the next thing for this. So we're learning all about that, what it's going to do for music, what it's going to do for TV, film, all kinds of other stuff. So,
and for me, it's business and marketing. And I'm also using AI to perfect my marketing skills and knowledge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, you know. So continue to learn, continue to grow. That's just going to make you more valuable, especially on your job. You know, just imagine if you're the only person that knows how to do something on your job. That makes you one of the most valuable people at that particular job, because can nobody else really do your job?
Right. And, you know, there are people that are looking at AI like taboo. However, it was G-Sharp that told me, like, no, girl, like, there is, you know, good in this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just the future.
Yep. And you have to get connected with it and learn it. Use it as a tool. Don't let it outuse you.
Come on.
You know, and we also want to say, you know, if you're looking for a mentor, you know, you want to make sure that you reach out to people. And I did learn that later on in life, you know, because, man, I have a couple mentors that's helping me in what I'm doing right now, you know, and it's just because I reached out to them. You know, you can't be afraid to reach out to somebody who even you might think that they're going to turn you down.
Right.
But just do it. You know, it ain't going to hurt nothing. The worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah. I mean, I can identify with that. Like, you know, I remember wanting someone to mentor me and train me. And I'm just like, oh, but no one's coming up to me. No one's asking. But later when I got my own mentees, I realized that I needed to do the reaching out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's encouragement for the I was going to say the TikTok generation. That's encouragement for the Z generation.
Yes.
That things are not just going to come. And so with that, here's what not to do.
Yeah.
Do not just sit home and do nothing.
Yes. Don't do that.
Listen, life is just passing you by.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, most of the 9 times out of 10 phone calls aren't just going to come to you saying, hey, we need you to come to this college, or we need you to work here, or, you know, join this trade school. No, you have to put the game down and put in the time to research.
Yeah. You have to understand that, and it's not saying that nobody knows you, but nobody knows you. You know, you have to make that effort to make yourself known. I tell my kids all the time going into college, you have to harass your teacher. And it's not like, you know, getting on their nerves, but you want them to know who you are.
Yes.
And you want them to know that you actually care about this class. So you need to walk up to that teacher every day and say, hey, my name is G-Sharp. Every day. Hey, professor, my name is G-Sharp. Hey, professor, G-Sharp. I got it, G-Sharp. I got you, son. You know, I know your name. And they're going to understand that you actually care about their class, and they're going to help you out because you like their class. The person that's not doing that, they're not going to help them out.
Right.
Trust me, you know.
And, you know, you may even be struggling in that subject, but if you make yourself known, you will receive favor.
Yep.
Ain't no telling how.
And that's because the teacher is going to look and say, you know what, G-Sharp, hey, you're not doing a good job in here, man. Like, what's going on? And now that's because they know your name. They know who you are. And now he's caring about you and your grade.
Right.
And you don't get that often in college. So, you know, take advantage of it. Make sure you let people know who you are. If you need a mentor, go up to them. Hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? You know, I've always been taught that if you want to be successful at something, find somebody that's more successful at it and get mentored by them. Ask them questions.
Yes.
And then that's how you get ahead of the game.
That's so great, babe. 2 Thessalonians.
You better stop here.
Breaking character.
Yeah.
2 Thessalonians 3:10, New Living Translation says, even while we were with you, we gave you this command. Those unwilling to work will not get to eat. And the word that stuck out to me here is unwilling. It's not that you can't work. It's that you're not willing to work, meaning you don't want to work.
Yep.
And therefore you will not eat. You know, right now it's all, you know, fine and dandy that you're playing video games and you're scrolling, you know, in your parents' home. But there will come a day where they're going to be looking at you like, when you going to get up out of here?
Right.
And you have to have a plan.
Yes.
And so in this time, while no one's, you know, pressuring you, it would be wise if you would, you know, get up and get going yourself.
Yeah, just remember, your big cousins love you. And we only trying to give you stuff and encourage you. You know, because again, you learning from our life mistakes and our life choices. And we just trying to encourage you and telling you to do stuff, man. Don't sit on your tail doing nothing.
Right.
You can be ahead of the game. You know, trust me, you could have so much more education if you took the time to sit here and boom, boom, boom. You playing a video game. Why don't you learn how to build that video game, how to create that video game? That could put you ahead of the game. So now we're looking at Call of Duty, and you done created a game called Duty of the Calling or something like that. And
now you're innovative.
You're innovative.
Just like that. You're
going to make a lot of money because you are the person that's tested it. You know exactly what people like yourself like these days. Boom. But you can't get it just playing the game because you're just a user at that particular point. You're not a creator.
Right.
So take the time, go learn some stuff and get off your tail.
And let me tell you that time is going to go by so fast. Like, look at us millennials. Like, we are now the aunties, the uncles, the big cousins.
Yeah.
You know, that time flew by like this. It feels like we've only been out of school for like a quarter of the time that we've actually been out. You know, we're having a hard time accepting the truth. You know, and so we don't want you to look up and, you know, 10 years have gone by and you still have no plan.
I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
But didn't. Come on now. Listen to your big cousins who are actually your aunties and uncles, but don't want to admit it.
So we just want to give y'all some uplifting scriptures, you know, before we go. So
yes. And so this scripture comes from Titus chapter 2, verses 4-7, and we're going to share the reading. And this is where the Apostle Paul is speaking to Titus. And so he says, these older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Then they will not bring shame on the word of God.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And then verse 6 says this, in the same way, encourage the young men to live wisely. And you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching.
So good.
Yep. And again, that's Titus 2, verses 4-7. And 1 Timothy 4:12 says, don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity.
And so the Bible encourages the older women to train the younger women up. And so that may look like you having a mentee. You know, make sure that, especially if you're a godly woman, you have someone other than your own children that you are pouring into.
Yeah. Because, I mean, as the body, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be connecting to each other and helping the other person grow.
Right.
You know,
as our pastors say, it's not just me, my four, and no more.
Yeah.
Not if you're in the body of Christ.
Right.
Like, we got some work to do.
We got brothers and sisters.
For sure.
You know, so. All right. So we just want to thank you for listening to our podcast. And
yes. And so if you've gained anything from this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want more of this content with no cap, bet, subscribe to our channel.
Y'all channel busting.
And Gen Z, if you have any questions, feel free to either comment below or email us at wearethemilfam@gmail.com. We thank you in advance for your love and support.
Yes. And we just want to say,
peace.